All right, troops, welcome to the Action-Flix. My name is Owen. I hope you enjoyed that explosive intro, courtesy of J-Man. So thank you, J-Man. So I'm going to bring in the crew, and we got our own little intros now. So first up is, of course, J-Man. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm good.
Oh, pleasure. Next up is Stephen. What up? How are you?
What up, Owen?
Not too bad. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yep. And final tonight is Charlie. How are you?
What's happening, guys?
Not much. So it's just the four of us tonight. So Thrash has to work tonight, and John has the dreaded vid. So hope you get well soon, John. So we're missing you. So take it easy.
We missed you, John.
We'll hopefully see you next week. Fingers crossed. Yeah. So tonight we're going to be celebrating 25 years of the Harrison Ford starring Air Force One. I can't believe it's 25 years. It's funny. I wish I'd actually thought of this. We should have done Air Force One versus Con Air because they're both 25 years old and they're both kind of similar storylines. That would have been awesome. Con Air wins, but anyway.
Yeah.
So before we start, a couple of things. Anybody watch the Halloween Ends trailer?
Oh, I forgot about it.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah. I've been on vacation this week.
What do you think?
I missed it.
I mean, as soon as that music plays, they could have a Victorian tea party, and I'd be interested. I don't know what else to put it, man.
Well, I love period Michael Myers. That'd be interesting.
It just like when Jamie's going for the knife and she's like, come here, motherfucker, or whatever she says. I'm like, whoa, Jamie, So
yeah, no, it looked awesome, and like you said, as soon as you hear the music, you're just like, yes, it's just like the best movie theme ever. I love it.
Well, I'm going to be disappointed he's not wearing a powder puff pig or wig now whenever I watch it.
He's going to be wearing a corset instead. That's going to be him using his knife to get rid of the corset.
I was excited. Now I'm going to be disappointed.
How can possibly live up to that? And do you know what I watched? And I deserve all the abuse in the world because I'd never seen it before until recently. And Stephen actually gave me the DVD of it. Stripes with Bill Murray.
Oh yeah.
What? You just watched?
Yeah, I never seen it.
As a kid, I don't remember anything. I may as well have not seen it.
It was the extended cut, right? And all the extra footage in it and everything. And I really enjoyed it, but it just made me think we need more mud wrestling scenes in movies today. Like, why is that not a thing anymore?
Watch Stripes. You'll know why it's not a thing anymore.
and
that movie would never get made today. Oh my God, it would offend everyone.
No. There's no way. There's no way. But like one of the best scores for a comedy ever was Stripes.
Yes, all the music was great. Yeah, I almost wondered if I was going to do a review for it because I was like, technically, the last half hour is an action movie.
Yeah,
like
why not?
Explosions and shootouts and everything else. So
it's also your site. You can write whatever. You
I know,
can My Little Pony if you want to.
But there's always these people. Why are you reviewing this? Is this an action movie? I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Only the action elite recognize it as an action movie. That's how you answer those.
That's the thing. But there's so much nudity, and then John Candy just ripping off the bikini tops of all the women. Everyone, I was like, yes, this is cinema. This is cinema. I just want to see more of. So they need to do a cinema re-release, and I'd go see that for sure.
Sure.
So that was awesome. So we shall start talking about Air Force One. So 25 years old. Now, J-Man, this is the first time you've seen it, isn't it?
Right, correct.
Okay, so...
All right, I forgot about that.
All right, so we'll start off with you on story.
Should I explain? Do I need to explain our...
Or do you want me to do it? Oh, I'll get the synopsis up. Hold on.
All right.
Calm down, everybody. I'm on it.
Just in case there's anybody new.
You never know. After making a speech in Moscow vowing to never negotiate with terrorists, President James Marshall, Harrison Ford, boards Air Force One with his family, Wendy Crewson, Lucille Matthews, and advisors. When a group of terrorists led by Ivan Kurishnov, Gary Oldman, hijacks the flight, the president's principles are put to the test. Feigning escape, ex-soldier Marshall stows away in the aircraft and must race against time to rescue his family and everyone else on board.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to use the space.
Yeah, we'll do space.
That I whatever developed X number of years ago.
Yeah.
And the way it works is that, hey BK, the way it works is that space stands for story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each of those categories gets a 0 to 2 score. So if everything got a 2, you got a 10 out of a 10 movie. 0 means it wasn't good. 1 means it was okay. 2 means it was really good. So if a movie gets 5 out of 10, it's exactly what it sounds like. It means it's okay, right? So if a movie gets 5 out of 10, that doesn't mean we're saying it's garbage. Garbage is like 2, 3, 4 is below average. 5 still means it's a good movie you watch. You thought that was okay, and you don't really think about it too much after that, and that's it. Once you start getting into 6 is like pretty good, right? 7, 8, 9, 10. Like if you get into 8s, that means it's really, really good, right? So that's really exceptional. And again, we're ranking these scores against itself. So every movie is a promise. It promises to entertain you with a story and whatever. And this is a movie about Harrison Ford. He's the president. Air Force One is taken, is hijacked. How good is that movie compared to what you want it to be? That's what we're discussing, basically. So again, we're not comparing this to Die Hard. We're not comparing this to Lawrence of Arabia or Ben-Hur or something, or 2001 or whatever. So that's basically how it works.
Okay, so do you want to start off? And this is your first time watching it, so you can just start off.
All right, so I hadn't seen this movie before. Put it in. I was like, okay. Now I'm giving the story 1.5 out of 2. I know it's a bit generic. It's they're hijacked or whatever, but I think it was a bit elevated because there's a lot of cool things. So story for me is like plot, setting, conflict, resolution, like those. When you learned in school, like this is what it makes a good story. So I think all that was really good. Plot, I just because it is a bit of a generic plot. So I dinged it kind of 0.5 point, but I still think it's 1.5 because I think there's a lot of cool little things that happen, and like having everybody like trying to figure out what's going on, and I didn't even know what was going to happen next. Like I literally thought that Harrison Ford, I knew he was going to be on the plane or whatever. I didn't know they were going to have all that extra stuff with Glenn Close as the vice president doing all these other things. Like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like we're seeing all sides of this play out. It's not just one lone guy on the airplane trying to defeat the bad guys. There's a lot of cool other stuff going on in the plot. So I thought that was really cool. What else did I tried to write a bunch of notes down here. I do like the resolution of this. The conflict was awesome. Like Gary Oldman versus Harrison Ford were good. I like how they set up. The setting was good. You kind of understood what was going on. Here's all your characters. Here's what they're capable of doing, and go. And I do like the fact that his big speech on we're not going to negotiate. I like that that's put to a test. And I think it concludes in the only way it could conclude. And I like the choices that Harrison Ford makes in the movie. So yeah, I'm giving it a 1.5.
Yeah, I actually agree. I would give it a 1.5 as well. I thought it was interesting that in his speech at the beginning, when he was saying it the other day, I was like, wow, there's a lot that's going on right now in certain places. There's sanctions on, and yet we sat by and did nothing. And I was like, yeah, that sounds a little bit familiar for my liking.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit. It actually made the film feel just a little bit more realistic because you always thought yes, it's a silly action movie, but there is just that element there which added to it. I thought. So I thought that was good. I thought it was incredibly tense throughout, and that's because of the villains, whatever else. But I thought there were stakes in it as well. Like if this guy is released from prison, basically he's going to cause chaos and take over the government, and it's just going to be hell and ruin all of their plans. So I thought that was a really good story. Yes, you said it's a bit generic, but I like the execution of it, and like I said, the characters, which we'll get to. And yes, it's a bit cheesy in 90s with the whole God bless America thing, but you know what? I miss that in movies, and I think America needs to get back to doing that in movies. Tell me I'm wrong, Charlie, if you want, but I like seeing.
I was like, I'm the only American here, apparently. Yeah. So,
you are. So, and
yeah.
I like seeing America whenever it's confident.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that for a while in movies, and I'm like, stop apologizing, it'd be fucking great.
If only, man. If only. I don't want to get us canceled too early, though. So.
Oh, I know.
Let's get all the scores out, and then we can. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
Yeah. So, Stephen, what do you think of the story?
Yeah, I agree to 1.5. I find it funny because I always say this: foreign directors love America, and American directors do not love America.
Mm-hmm.
Every pro-American movie, with the exception of Michael Bay, is the only American director I know who will make pro-American-ish movies. All America, like if you look at Roland Emmerich, he loves America. He's always like pro-America. Wolfgang Peterson, he wrote about the Secret Service. He did In the Line of Fire, which was about the Secret Service, and he made this film. And I'm like, I was sitting there, I'm like, man, everyone loves America, but America, especially now. So I found that interesting. I had the same reaction as the speech when he's like, oh, this is cowardly and all that, and it's not accomplishing anything. I'm like, this is uncomfortably real. Like, real thing going on.
Oh yeah.
I think I agree with the generic part, but I feel like this is more of a thinking man's Die Hard in the fact that you don't have Harrison Ford being very innovative or quippy per se. He can't fight like Wesley Snipes can in Passenger 57. He's got to use what he's got, which is basically his smarts. So I think you see a lot of him doing things. I think, it is a generic plot that is elevated with little things like when he's got Gary Oldman's got the press secretary there, and you're sure Harrison Ford's going to come out to save her. He doesn't, and he shoots her dead.
That's the best scene of the film. That's so tense.
Yeah, and they immediately think it's the Secret Service there. They don't even think the president's still on the plane.
Right.
Which I find sort of interesting when they're like, oh, this guy, and they were smart in that. It's they said, oh, he was a Vietnam pilot and all that stuff. So you're giving a reason for why he can do things. It's not just like he's Superman now all of a sudden for no reason.
Right.
I didn't give it 2. I did find it funny how, occasionally if they need something, someone will just describe, oh, Air Force One has this and this works this way and that. And I'm like, someone really enjoyed their tour of Air Force One because it just kept getting thrown in there like periodically, like, but yeah, it's a pretty good story and it accomplishes what it's supposed to. It's not, witness for the prosecution, but very few films are. So 1.5 sounds like the perfect rating to me. So,
okay, Charlie.
2 things to start out with. First, the whole thing about foreign directors being more American than Americans. We have an entire film studio called Canon who absolutely loved America, and they were not American.
Yep.
They didn't even film the movies in America most of the time. And it was all America, fuck yeah. That's all their movies were. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on. The second thing is I think I'm going to be the J-man on this one here because you guys have touched it, but I'm watching this movie and I was kind of sitting in my head rating it today going, this is so just generic in what I expect on a story. I almost wanted to laugh when J-Man goes, we don't compare these movies to anything but itself, not even Die Hard. And I'm going, it's kind of Die Hard.
It's Die Hard in the plane.
It's kind of Die Hard 2 as well. And Passenger 57 and this other movie. And I'm like, I don't want to ding the movie because of that, because I love this movie.
Yeah.
But I'm also going, I've seen this 100 times.
Yeah.
I kind of know what's going to happen. But I think this is the one I'm going to give it a 1 instead of a 1.5.
That's the James ranking it to 1. I'm like the negative Nancy on the deal.
I had a reason. I like you always had, like when we're all super high, you're like, all right, boys.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah. This was drivel, utter drivel. It is. That's why I'm saying it's 1. And I was torn with 1.5. It's not a 2 because it's not doing anything new. Had it done something really new, it'd have been a 2 all day.
Right.
1.5 and 1 where I'm like, it's 1.5 here, but I got to ding it here. And, even with the general, like, that high stakes of him getting loose and what's going to happen, it's kind of the end of Die Hard 2. We're waiting for the general for them to take him back and, rescue him. and we're all trapped on a plane. We just did Passenger 57, and it's like, I've seen it. I love Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman, but that's later in the rating. So story, 1.
I was at a 1 kind of 0.25, and I thought that little chunk at the end, which we'll get to, I guess, in pacing, where I'm like, I like that the movie remembered that there's still a plane that's in danger, and it wasn't like, oh, Gary Oldman gets kicked off, get off my plane, roll the credits. Right?
Exactly.
Like, okay, whoa, you're still on this plane, like you got to get off this thing, right? And there's still what's his face back there too. It's like, is he going to do something or not? You know, I can't remember that actor's name. He's in tons of movies.
Xander Berkeley.
So had that guy actually just pretended he was a good guy again and got off, I actually would have given it almost a 2 at that, because
I didn't believe that he would do that. I was like, that makes no sense that he would do that.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
So I was approaching a 2, and I thought, oh, they're adding this extra bit, and then I'm like, oh, well, why would that? It meant if I see all my friends are dead, I'm like, oh, I still got my cover. I'm like, screw it, I'll just hang. Oh yeah, with you.
Yeah. God bless America.
Well, it was to the point of they had to make these higher stakes to get the ending we got. Was we can only take one more. So he was gonna get on that plane with everyone. And if they had done it that way, that means we would have had to have some type of, it's kind of like the ending of White House Down with Channing Tatum, where there's the undercover, they're uncovering the plot with the pagers and everything at the end. If everyone had just died and it ended, okay, awesome action movie. But they added that little extra, like we figured it out. They would have had to add like another 15 minutes to the movie in order to give us our, that guy has to get his comeuppance in this movie, or we get Air Force 2. I don't know.
They almost should have had him betray it before that part.
Right.
That made no sense.
Yeah, done it earlier. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's like
and then William H. Macy would have been alive. Damn it.
Yes.
That sucked. You don't kill Ned
That
Flanders.
did suck.
I hate that part of the movie.
Right to the end.
Yeah, he was there. Jim Brass from CSI survives, and he got shot. William H. Macy doesn't make it, and I'm pissed off about it.
Yeah, unacceptable. I'll get to the ending probably at artistry. We'll get to that.
we know where you're gonna go with it.
But not quite the way you think. So J-Man, pacing.
Man, I gotta tell you, I'm high on pacing. I'm giving it a 1.5 for pacing. Man, I didn't give it I would almost give it a 2. Pacing I look at like this way. You divide the movie in 4 parts. You get, it's a 0.5 per part. So would I cut anything from the beginning? No. Everything is set up beautifully. I understand the players involved. I like that beginning part. It sets up what's going to happen, sets up the villain story. I like that. Next quarter, really good stuff. We're figuring out what's going on with the plane. We know what Air Force One is capable of, blah, blah. Third act is where I'm like, okay, Harrison Ford seems to be kind of, or not third act, I guess third quarter. He's kind of stuck in that underground thing for a while. I'm like, we need to kind of get him out of here and get into the action. The movie's 2 hours long. I mean, if you just remove like maybe 10 minutes, you'd be at like a 2. Maybe cut a little bit of the ending of the fourth quarter, a little bit of the third quarter, and kind of mesh that together, and then you have. But I was never bored. I would give this a 2, except for the J-Man isms of like, well, you gotta cut a little bit here.
I wasn't trying to be mean, J-Man. I was
I'm going with that because I like being tough. I like being tough.
You're tough. Listen, absolutely.
You're here to entertain me. I paid money for this, so it's not my job to entertain myself. I can do that with very easily. So and it'll be longer than 2 hours now. So so I'm giving it 1.5, but I was really close to 2 because I was like if I would have stopped the movie halfway and someone called me, I'd be like, oh yo, this is like a 2. Like, why are you talking to me right now? Like, don't talk to me. Like, I'm like super into what's happening. But yeah, 1.5 for the J-Manisms.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'll go 1.5. I was nearly going to go 1, but I'll go 1.5 because of the ending. I like after Gary Oldman gets his comeuppance, and this is a common thing with most 90s action movies is that they go on for 10 or 15 minutes longer than nature.
Yeah.
Speed did that after the bus blows up, and then it goes on for like another 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
No, the film's over. That's the threat over. Then you
Yeah.
don't need to do it again on a train. I was like, that's too much. And then all the shit when they're on the wires and going and everything else. And I thought a better way for this to have ended. I know it's less interesting, but I would have had it where he has to crash land the plane, and he just like crash lands it somewhere, and the president has to do it or something, and then he has to do it whatever else. And then I think that works better dramatically rather than taking you out with, which we'll get to in the artistry section. So yeah, but generally it's well paced. It's incredibly tense. There's a genuine threat of violence and death throughout. So yeah, 1.5 for me, solid 1.5. So, Stephen?
I'm going to be a tough one on here and go 1. You need.
You're canceled.
Not just me tonight, boys.
You guys.
Wolfgang Petersen is a strange filmmaker to me in that he makes really, really, really long movies, even long movies of stuff that he shouldn't be. Like, I'll give you an example. I'm going to go back to In the Line of Fire. That's a great movie. It's probably my favorite one of his. Probably my favorite one of his that I've done, that I've seen. But it's still like there's these moments where it's like it's weird. He has this habit of what's happening on screen is interesting, but it's told almost in a very methodical way. Like you see a lot of the set again, where I'm like, oh, we love Air Force One. You keep going all over the set. But like Harrison Ford is in that frigging baggage compartment for a long time. He's going through luggage, and then you go back, he's going through luggage. I mean, at least pull out women's underwear or something to give me something to work with at that time. Something to do, because he's just like pulling it out, like, I get he wouldn't find a satellite phone right away, but my God, like how many pieces of luggage is he going to have to go through?
I'm sure he's just thinking, you know what I need? Some women's panties. Never mind these terrorists.
Look, I just happened to watch this movie the other day, but I was watching Under Siege 2 when he has the porter go through the luggage and he holds up the corset. Like, you know how to work and cover. This, and you said that, and I'm like, why would we want? We did want that. We put that in the movie.
It was right there.
It was right there. Sorry, Steven. Continue.
That's okay. I have the same. I had the same reaction that Owen did when Gary Oldman said he's like floating down to earth and his neck is broken. I'm like, okay, we're done. Oh no, they gotta land the plane. Okay, and then it's like this movie should not be 2 hours.
No, 145 minutes tops.
Yeah, 105 minutes tops. So I don't know. I struggle with the pacing. It wasn't boring. It was never boring. That's the thing. That's why it didn't get less than a 1. But it's just like I think they could have trimmed it, and I think like you needed to speed up that ending when Gary Oldman dies, because I agree with Owen completely. The movie's over at that point.
Yeah, the threat is over at that point. So why bother? Yeah, Charlie.
So, pacing is. Stephen made great points. I was already thinking about, because there's stuff where it's like they could have cut it a little bit, but I wasn't bored. Like there's a lot of stuff happening in the boardroom with the vice president. We got to get signatures. We got to get all this, and I'm like, God, we could kind of cut some of this shit. Kind of streamline this a little bit. Yes, we need that happening because goddamn, I love Glenn Close in this movie too. But I was like, we could speed this up a little bit. They drug it out. I'm going to complain about this, and I don't know if I complained about this in Pastor 57, but when you got one guy down in the belly of the plane and you've got multiple guys, just freaking go down there.
Yeah.
You control the door. You control everything else about the plane. Go down there and get him. He should not have been in the belly of that plane that long.
Right.
Especially with avionics. He's already messed with the fuel. He's already messed with everything else. Same thing with the Under Siege 2. Get down to the bottom of the train level and deal with him where they are. Stop dragging it out. But as far as pacing goes, I'm still going to give it a 1.5 because, again, never bored in this movie whatsoever. It begins with a Navy SEAL incursion on the general. even the part where he's given the speech, I'm not bored because you're like, you get that badass speech moment. Everything sets up pretty quickly. They take over the plane very quickly too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's boom. They have the plane. And again, I think the only thing that really slows it down is the, White House the headquarters.
The Dean Stockwell scenes, like the scenes with him and
Yeah.
Glenn Close, where he's like, who's in charge here, whatever. And I'm like, oh, we don't need this.
I didn't need any of that. He could have bitched for a couple of seconds and I would have been like, okay, he's not happy with her. But okay, who would back me up in this? Well, I think I might back you up in that. Well, get me more signatures. And it's like, I don't need this, guys. Action movie. Action. Get me.
Mm-hmm.
But then they give me action. And then even though, it could have ended with Gary Oldman just dead and the movie and land the plane, which I agree with Owen, and I know why he's pushing for that ending as well, for crash landing the plane on its belly. But it does light speed again to trying to control the plane, get the plane there, get off on the zip line, and then we get the final comeuppance at the end. So again, I'm not bored during any of that. So 1.5.
Okay. So artistry, Jay.
Well, look, I'm giving it a 1. I don't want to beat the crap out of this movie too, because they're trying to do exciting things. The music's awesome. So artistry, audio, there's audio components, visual components, right? So audio components are good. All like sounds good, like music's awesome, all that. Visual components are okay. Like, I mean, it's on the plane, so there's not much you can do, and there's some good action with that. Some of the effects are not so great, but I don't want to beat this thing up either, because like they're trying. I'm okay with someone trying to do something cool and exciting, and maybe it doesn't stand the test of time, rather than, oh, let's just do a couple of like crappy things and it looks okay. I was fine with everything. People are kind of like, it's like, oh, the artistry's not that good. I don't know. I thought it was okay. So I'm just at a 1. I don't think anything was, I didn't barf for anything. I was like, okay, this is cool. And I was into the story. And when I'm into the story, I'm not really thinking too much about like what it all this looks like. Because I mean, I watch silent films. I watch black and white movies all the time. I'm always watching in the time of the movie. So when this movie came out, I'm thinking, had I seen this like when it came out, I probably would be like, this whole movie's like freaking 10 out of 10. Like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? It's only now watching it now where you're watching on 4K TVs and you're like, I'm gonna take my notes down. And, you know what I mean? So,
and that's not fair. That's not fair to ding a movie for that. You're right. That's
you can watch a silent film and be like, well, that looks like a fake background. It's like
right, exactly.
Hitchcock, the fake backgrounds are out of control. In every Hitchcock movie, one of my favorite directors of all time, I own, I don't know, easily 30 Hitchcock movies. They're pretty much all 8 or more out of 10. Some of them are goddamn 10 out of 10, like Foreign Correspondent. But like even Foreign Correspondent has a couple of parts where like, that looks a little bit weird, but it looks great. I would give that 2 out of 2 for artistry. But anyways, I'm giving it a 1. I can't beat this up, but if you guys want to beat it up. Have at it.
Well, what was interesting is that I've seen earlier, I got the 4K of the movie last week. I thought I had it on DVD, but I think I must have given away in my call a while ago, and I was planning on upgrading it anyway. So I watched the 4K the other day, and the effects aren't actually as awful as I remember them being at the end. They're still bad. And I did see it at the time. I saw it at the theater, and I remember me and Ed came out of the theater, and we were in hysterics. And we were like, "That's one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen." That was pathetic. I hated the movie, and we didn't watch it for years. And I was like, I was so cheesy. The plane crash at the end, I was like, that's the worst fucking thing I've ever seen. What is that? It just like a video game. But then when I watched it the other day, I was like, no, actually, it's not that bad. I mean, CG is a bit better now. It still sucks, but it's But generally, like the scenes with like the fighter jets, they're well done. I like the scene where the American pilot sacrifices himself and blows up the plane. That was a really cool scene.
Yes.
So Jerry Goldsmith's score. Jerry Goldsmith is one of the greatest composers of all time.
Yeah.
And his music is phenomenal. It's patriotic, and I'm not even American, and I'm like, watching it, I just.
You damn right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I loved all that. So. The rest of the action scenes are good. some squibs and things like that. This is before the days of CG blood and things. So it's really just the ending. If they tighten that up, because I lose interest whenever they're doing the thing about going across the wires. I'm like, because you're just aware that it's pretend the whole time, and it just takes me out of it. So,
well, we're sorry, and they weren't actually risking their lives for our entertainment.
I was like, they should have. Well, if you go back to the old days, like whenever there was like real stunts, and that's the beginning of like the shitty green screen days, where like very few things are actually done for real.
Yeah.
But
listen, if you want a 2 out of 2 on J-Man's space score, you better risk your life to get that 2
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Straight. Yeah. So it gets a 1 from me. So there we are. So Stephen,
I'm going to go 1.5. I'm going to go a little bit higher.
That's generous.
I think yeah,
that's right.
That is true.
Yeah.
When you watch this movie, you're like, how did Harrison Ford?
That's Alex doing his little Under Siege quote, which he does and everything.
Oh, okay.
What the bullshit is this?
Real quick on that comment about the best vice president, they've done like fake presidential elections of all the like Hollywood presidents and stuff. Harrison Ford has won every time, even against Bill Pullman. Yeah, even against Bill Pullman in Independence Day. Harrison Ford still wins. So
Harrison Ford owns
America.
Harrison Ford. You watch this movie and you're like, Harrison Ford should have been the real president of the United States.
I agree. We're gonna get to that in characters. He should have been the president. I would have voted. I would have got a U.S. citizenship, voted for him, then moved back to Canada.
I agree. 100%.
I'd have signed that recommendation too. It's like who signs for? I'll sign for J-Man. Just let him.
And I
for a
want
little
Glenn
bit.
Close as his VP. She was awesome.
She was great.
But artistry, Jerry Goldsmith's score is awesome. Brings me back to 90s scores where I'm like, God, they were so good. 80s and 90s scores can't be beat.
Yeah, music.
Yeah, the music is awesome. Jerry Goldsmith was a genius. Even you know, for I don't know if this is a lesser known movie. I think it's a lesser talked about movie than a lot of his other stuff, like First Blood, you know, Star Trek, all that stuff. But like this is a really damn good score. I really appreciate the sets. I saw them enough. I really appreciate the sets a lot. I think they went through a lot of trouble to replicate Air Force One. The craftsmanship is really damn good. For some reason, I really like even the costumes. I think the costumes are terrific. How they all, you know, what they're all wearing and stuff. I think I don't know. Like it looks plausible to me. It looks realistic.
Right.
I think the only drawback, and it's not the lines. I actually like the lines because I'm like, well, how do you do a transfer midair? You would have to do it this way. So to me, that makes sense. The only thing is the crash is god freaking. It looks like previs now. It looks like something they would do in previs to set up what it will look like. It does not look. It looks like a 2001 video game. Just really, really, really bad. And I saw it on Blu-ray, and it's really, really bad. But I really think they tried, and I really think on most things they executed really well. So 1.5.
Fair enough. Well argued. Okay, Charlie.
So you guys got to watch it on Blu-ray, streaming. I bought this on DVD because I'm like you, Owen. I'm like, why don't I have this? Where is this? And I bought this last year in a 2-pack with Courage Under Fire that came with it. But it was separate disc, and I popped that bad boy in last night, and it's full screen.
Ew.
So I watch it full screen, and let me tell you, boys, I enjoyed every damn minute of it because I'm like, I'm like watching it back home. Even it's like my TV may be 65, but now I'm maybe on a 30. But I was loving just that feel again because that's how I used to watch this. I've watched this movie countless times. I'll tell you right now, when you guys pick this, I'm like, hell yes, give me Air Force One. I love this movie. Artistry, I'm going 1.5. I'll get that out of the way now, and I'll explain why I'm going to stand with Steven on this. The ending airplane is the worst thing of this movie by far. But everything else with the airplanes from the outside, with the jets, the fueling jet, the transfer jet, everything shot from outside looks amazing, even on that. The only thing is, because I'm watching it on a larger television, is you can obviously tell, like at the parachute ramp scenes, everything behind them was green screen, so things didn't quite move right around that. But I'm like, you know what, of its time, like J-Man said, I'm not going to ding it. The sets are amazing, like Steven said. I can't knock that. And the way they shot the close quarter fight, the fight between Harrison Ford and Andrew Divoff in the belly, and then they choreographed it where the president isn't really going to know how to fight. He was in a brawl just to survive, just to happen to get behind him and break his neck. Even though he was military in Vietnam, you do go through boot camp. Maybe little things of that, but from now on, from now he's pampered. So it's like, shit, I got to figure out. He's haggard, he's beat up, all this stuff I'm buying. Glenn Close is stressed out. I'm buying everything of how they're acting, what they're doing, and I'll get into that more in the characters. But music, he takes the actual song for Air Force One, the actual, entire, orchestra part, and makes it an action movie theme for this movie. And I'm like, fuck, I love this. This music gets me hyped. When I hear that, I'm like, yes, Harrison Ford's going to kick some ass. I love this. All the bad guys are amazing. Sets are amazing. The bad CG is the only ding I can give this movie at the end. Everything else is well done for 96, 97. I forget which one. 97. Everything else is right on par with what I'm used to getting, in 97 and earlier. So 1.5 for artistry.
Fair enough. So characters, Jay.
Oh man, I'm giving it 2 out of 2. I literally loved everybody in this movie. Everybody that had dialogue, I'm like, that person's good. That random black woman who's like, I can use the facts. I'm like, she's cool.
I loved her. Yeah.
I'm gonna make you Postmaster General.
Yeah. I liked his wife a lot in this. The kid was pretty good. Everybody that had a speaking role was pretty good. A lot of character actors. Divoff, I love seeing him in there. There's and I'm like, oh, it's that guy. It's like, I'm the worst with these action movie names, unless it's like the star. I don't remember the names. I'm just like, oh, that's the guy from Barbed Wire. Oh, that's the guy from. I remember
the pilot. I kept going Rent, because he's the one from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, this guy. Glenn Close was awesome. It's like, I thought everybody was awesome. Obviously, Gary Oldman's awesome. And then Jürgen Prochnow is there for no reason. And he's just the best anyways. I just like that guy's face. Like, he looks like a cool person, I don't know. I really like every character. I was surprised. I thought, when I look at characters, I look at the hero, the villain, and I look at the supporting characters that support the hero, that support the villain. I kind of rank it that way. And I'm like, I love the heroes. I love the supporting characters that are on the good guys' side. I love the villains. I love the supporting villains. I'm like, this is awesome. I don't dislike any character. I can't think of one character I thought, oh, this person sucked. So I have no choice but to give it 2 out of 2 because I couldn't find any faults. I think everyone except this wasn't a character thing. This is a story thing with the guy at the end where it's like, well, would he have given himself up? Whatever. The story
that's a character thing.
I guess it's a character thing, but the story forced him to give himself up because we can only take one more. So it's almost like
the role he played is good. It's good. What he had to do sucked.
Yeah, he got that kind of. But still, I'm giving it 2 out of 2. Man, I liked every character. So
fair enough. Yeah, so I'll just catch up with some of these comments here. President Dwayne Elizondo, Mountain Dew, Herbert, Idiocracy, isn't it?
He was a write-in. It's all good. Yeah.
Oh, is that from Idiocracy? Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
I think that's what it was.
It is, yeah. President Palmer from 24. Yes, love Palmer in 24. He was great.
Yeah.
And my favorite shot is one of the US just fires a missile at the enemy fighter, and you see the debris coming right at you, especially in front. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, I mean, like those dogfight scenes are awesome, and they're like really, really exciting. Yeah. So, so characters for me, like it's 1.5, because I hate Dean Stockwell's character. He's just annoying. But also Xander Berkeley's character, I thought was poorly realized, and I thought nobody would act the way he did at the end. I was like, oh well, all of my allies are dead. I literally have nothing to gain here. And I was like, it just made no sense. And I was like, no, he would have just gone with it and be like, all right, that didn't work, so I'll just pretend this never happened and just wait till the next time or whatever. So I never bought him, and to me that was a character flaw with him. Harrison Ford I thought was funny because I'd never noticed this before, but if you watch so many of the earlier scenes when he's downstairs, he looks like someone who's just woken him up from a nap a lot of times. He's like, what? I was watching that. So it's
she was 18, I swear.
Yeah. So that Gary Oldman, maybe my favorite performance of his, or one of them. I think it's one of the best villains of the 90s for sure. I thought he was a scary bastard. And they didn't even try to like make him sympathetic. There's a nice scene between him and the daughter. And he says, you think I'm a monster, but I have 3 little girls or 3 little children. And I was like, there's your sequel, the 3 of them looking for revenge years later, but never happened. Yeah. But yeah, I loved him as a character. Harrison Ford was good. Yeah, William H. Macy. So I guess 1.5 for me, I'll say. So, Stephen?
Yeah, 1.5. I liked everyone, but I'm also cognizant that these are really talented character actors and leading actors and performers who know how to elevate a role. And I think you had a lot of elevation of role. Glenn Close was basically written as the very concerned, caring, but slightly ineffective VP because she's immediately being undercut by the men in the room, right? I feel like that was what her character was. And she elevated it because Glenn Close is just a damn good actress. Harrison Ford, same thing. Gary Oldman, you're the villain. You hate America and all that. And Gary Oldman elevates that because he is Gary frigging Oldman. And even guys like Paul Guilfoyle and guys like that. But I agree, Dean Stockwell had no purpose in the movie, and he was getting annoying because they kept going back to him. And he's like, I got all these signatures. I'm like,
nobody cares.
Yeah, like do we not have something more prominent to worry about? Well, I can call the shots, but you don't even know what's going on. So what are you calling the shots on? Xander Berkeley, I agree, didn't make any sense. I like Xander Berkeley, barbed wire, right? So, but like,
me too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the performers elevate. I think the performers elevated the roles, and that's why to me it gets a 1.5.
Fair enough. Yep. Charlie?
Don't worry, Jay, man. I'm not going to leave you hanging out here, brother. This is a 2. And if I could give a score higher than 2, it would only because I want to see this movie remade, but Gary Oldman play every character in the freaking movie.
I'd watch that.
I want him being the president, the bad guy, the daughter, the wife, put a wig on him, and he turns around, and it's Gary Oldman. But I'm buying it that he's kissing himself. That's his wife. I know it, damn it. Get off my plane, and it's him flying off the plane. I mean, give me Gary Oldman everywhere. And I would say this is only probably tied with like The Professional or, movies like that where they were saying on set that he's like scary Oldman. When he was on, that was him. But the second they stopped rolling, back nice, joking with everyone.
Yeah.
He's apparently super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. He has that tender moment with the daughter, but then he can turn like a snake immediately. Just boom. Cause he's like, I don't give a shit about your daughter. As soon as he's done with that, he's like, I'll kill everyone on this plane to get what I need done. I'll die to get what I need done. So Gary Oldman makes this a 2, no matter who else. It could have been monkeys running around all over the place, and it would have been Gary Oldman in this. But I love Glenn Close in this. I agree they did kind of that, you're a woman, you're not in control, but she was able to elevate it. And I think this is where I differ maybe a little bit on where we consider characters. Am I dinging the character as it was written, or am I dinging the actor in their portrayal of the character? Because if it's the actor portraying a character, everyone nailed it. Even Dean Stockwell. I hated him, but he played it that way. I didn't like him. That's the point. So I lean towards characters of how well did the actor portray them story would have been where I'd have been like, I don't like what you did with that particular character. You didn't need Dean Stockwell, but Dean Stockwell did good. So, and when it comes to that, that's where I change up a little bit from where you guys were, is how well they did. The lazy husband from Taken.
Yeah, that's where I ding the story a bit too. It's like,
yeah,
I ding the pacing and story for those reasons. Like the pacing of, we don't need as many of these scenes, and the story for why is this element in the story when it's not needed, right?
And, yeah, and
that guy played it like I didn't mind Dean Stockwell. He was that irritating guy, and you're like, there is those guys in the government who keep wanting to take control away. And
now,
like, no,
is it fair that this particular movie got this kind of cast behind it? Probably not, compared to other action movies that we get. It's like, wow, they went hard.
Yeah.
Like, oh, little Oscar noms here.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's walking around polishing their Oscar as they walk on set. Can you hold this while you go get my coffee? Air Force Gary. Yes,
yeah, that's what
Air Force Gary. That's what I want to see. Gary Force One. But no, it's a 2 for characters. There's no character in here I didn't like. That even the kid wasn't annoying like some kids.
Yeah,
no, she wasn't. Yeah, she felt real. Yeah,
it felt real. And you know, Harrison Ford obviously just went for that. I'm a family man.
Yeah.
First,
where's my family?
Yeah, where's my family? But even where he's holding the gun to him and he breaks, he goes, "I'll make the call." You know, that scene still is just kind of like, oh fuck yeah, that's what I would do. I'm a dad,
Yeah.
you know. Of course I would do that. You know, America will still be there tomorrow. One general gets out, we'll bomb his ass, but my kids, my wife, you know, I got to save them. So
yeah,
2.
Yeah, fair enough. I also love the scene, and it's my favorite Gary Oldman moment of several. I mean, obviously I love execute the hostage every half an hour, which I say more than I should, but also whenever he's talking to the daughter and the mother is like, you leave her alone, shut up. And it's such a natural reaction, and he's like, oh, shut up, give me peace. And he just brought us back out, because you're thinking, oh wait a minute, maybe this guy's not so bad, and then she just reminds us, no, this guy's a fucking monster.
His line where he's like, your Secretary of State just bought you another 30 minutes, and you're just like, that's insanely cold right there. It's like, yep, yeah, you got more time, that was the payment for it. It's like, damn.
Right.
And you feel every death in the movie as well, like when someone's killed, because like they're unarmed and innocent, and you're like, oh my god, don't kill them, they're innocent. And like when the woman is killed,
when she's crying, dude, when she's like breaking down, like, damn.
Yeah, what am I doing right now? You're pointing a gun at me, you know, and you're like, oh my god, that's such a tense scene. And then even Olympus Has Fallen kind of stole that scene. Do you remember when they like beat up the woman? And I remember finding that scene just a bit too much. I was like, you really don't need to be kicking her when she's or whatever. Just like it seemed a bit too over the top. But
London Has Fallen also took the putting your aircraft in the way of an oncoming missile to save the president.
So it's funny you sometimes maybe don't realize just how influential this movie actually was at the time. And hey, we're still talking about it after 25 years, so they've got to do something, right?
Exactly.
So enjoyment, J-Man.
So enjoyment, I look at, did I like the movie? Yes or no? Would I recommend someone to watch it? Yes or no? Would I watch it again? Yes or no? Would I own it? Yes or no? If I say yes to all that, it's 2 out of 2. Yes, I definitely enjoyed it. Yes, I would definitely recommend people to watch it. Yes, I would definitely watch it again. And yes, I definitely plan to own it. So it's a 2 out of 2, man. I thought it was friggin' awesome. Like, after this movie was over, I was like, holy crap, this is like 10 out of 10. I was like, okay. And this always happens with me. I get super pumped and I'm like, okay, hold on a second. I'm a film student. I'm
bring it down.
Bring it down.
Notebook.
I'm like, okay. Yeah. Then I start pulling this out and I start getting the boogie board out. I'm like, okay, hold on a second. 5 plus 5. Carry the 2. Yeah, no, this looks like, okay, this isn't 10 out of 10. I'm sorry. Calm yourself down. But no, 2 out of 2 for enjoyment, man. Look, I like the movie. It was wicked. I love the characters. For me, it's like, if the story isn't like, I'm a story guy if it matters. If it's a generic story, but I really enjoyed all of it, then that's good. And it's almost good enough for me to get a pass. which is why I actually am. I know I'm the most negative sometimes here, but when I talk to regular people who are just like, "Oh, that was a garbage movie," and it's like, "Okay, was it really garbage?" Right? Like, so and then when people say this is 10 out of 10, I'm like, "Hold on, is it really 10 out of 10?" There's nothing better than this movie. So I'm 2 out of 2 for enjoyment though, because I don't need to give reasons why. I really had a good time with it. So
fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I've grown to like it more over the years. It's funny, like I remember hating it when I first saw it, and it still has its flaws. Do I own it on 4K? Yes. Did I enjoy the shit of it the other day? Yes. Would I recommend it? Yes, but with a caveat. And I would say just prepare for the ending. It's not perfect or whatever. So I'm going to go with 1.5 for that for me. So Stephen?
Yeah, 1.5 is fair to me. I remember when I first saw this in the theater, there was a period of time where I was like, I'm going to see every Harrison Ford movie that comes out in the theater. And then Random Hearts came out, and I'm like, well, that ends that streak. But and I remember I came home from this, and my parents said to me, did you like Air Force One? I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. Like, it was pretty good. And they're like, well, did you like it more in The Devil's Own? I'm like, I like A Funeral more than The Devil's Own.
Yeah.
The Devil's Own and all.
Have my teeth removed.
Yeah, it's like Brad Pitt with a terrible Irish accent or Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman. Well, let me think on it. Yeah. This is a really solid movie. It's an enjoyable movie. I agree with BK at the start. It's got a lot going for it. It's a solid film. Do I love it? No, I don't love it. And it's just, there's too many little nicks here and there that stop me from going to the 2 level. But I really enjoy this film. It's a solid movie. If you're talking about Harrison Ford's filmography, other than the Indiana Jones movies and the original Star Wars trilogy, which to me is the only Star Wars trilogy.
No, it's too early, Steven. It's too early.
Well, we nearly made it.
Damn it!
52 minutes, 20 seconds Star Wars reference.
You're canceled.
Sorry. It had to happen. But if you're going to talk about his filmography,
it's Harrison Ford. It's fine.
Yeah. If you're going to talk about his filmography, other than those 2 obvious franchises, you got to talk about this film with some of his other stuff like Fugitive and, Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, stuff like that. It's a really damn good movie. And if you haven't seen it, you probably will enjoy it. I'm a little bit surprised. I thought J-Man would give it a little bit lower, so I'm really surprised at his enthusiasm a bit.
I know, so high. I was like, okay.
I'm going to be the highest out of everybody, it seems.
Yeah.
You guys all suck. I'm going, the party's over. I'm going.
Wait a minute now.
Find your own space.
I haven't gone yet.
Yeah,
Charlie
Charlie
hasn't gone. All right.
It's a really damn solid film, and if you haven't seen it, you should.
Okay. And Charlie gives it 0.5. Well, thanks for watching.
All right, see you later.
I hated it.
All right, Charlie, go.
Look, there's only one thing I can say about the enjoyment of this movie, and that's America. Fuck yeah. I got done with this movie when I was a kid. I watched it again. I love this movie. Airplanes, jets, gunfights, Harrison Ford, Han Solo's the president. Damn it, I love this movie. I don't care about the crappy CGI. When I was like 17, I didn't give a shit about how the story drug out.
Yeah.
I got to watch Gary Oldman be scary as fuck. And Harrison Ford yell, "Get off my plane," and repeat that for infinity since then. One of my best friends had started when he was younger a collection of Air Force One VHSs. His goal was to have Air Force 100. He got to 70. And life got in the way, and he had to sell the collection. But his goal was to be the first person with Air Force 100. So, this movie's been part of my life forever. I love it. I need to get the 4K, but I still enjoyed the hell out of watching it
4K.
Full screen. Still looked fantastic, and I was happy and enjoying it. And I still had goosebumps at the part when the jet blocks the missile. I'm like, yes, that's what you do. That's what you do right there. The MiG fighter looking scared as shit when he realizes there's a missile up his ass. Love it. Nothing I don't love about this movie.
Fair enough.
It's a 2.
Glorious Harrison. Yeah, probably is a glorious Harrison. Yeah, it is super violent.
What about the dude that melts in Indiana Jones?
That's true.
That is true. That's still a great looking scene too.
Yeah,
that still holds up well, Mr.
Yeah.
Man of Wax. But one really, exactly.
Yeah, it really is that one at the end. Everything else I can forgive. It's just the plane crash. Everything else is fine, to be honest. So.
I mean, if I'm going to ding it, it's for killing William H. Macy. That's what I'm going to ding it for.
You don't kill live action Ned Flanders. You just don't.
No.
He's the shoveler, and he shovels well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I shovel well. I shovel
shovel
really well.
Well.
Yeah.
So that's it, isn't it?
Yeah. So okay. So Stephen and Owen are the party poopers at 7 out of 10.
Good. It was a 7 out of 10 movie. Good. I'm happy with that.
Boo.
We're right. Everyone else is wrong.
Charlie and I are 8 out of 10. What's funny is that I just watched this movie 2 days ago, and Charlie has grown up with it his entire life, and we're at the same.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is a J-Man technique. Everyone says this. I can literally transport myself. Like, remember in that Days of Future Past movie, which has some garbage points to it, but somewhat okay, where like she transfers his mind. I can do that. I can transfer my mind into the body of my younger self from 1997 and pretend I saw the movie at that time. And that's why I'm like, I'll watch a silent movie like, that was awesome. Yeah. And it's like, why are you getting so excited? It's like, because it was awesome. It's like, okay, but just because I get pumped up for that. So when I saw this, I was like, yeah, like this is so good. It's like America and all that. Like, this is awesome.
I remember getting this for my birthday, man. Because again, we talked about this where it took forever to get the release after it came out of theaters.
Right.
And I got it and I'd already seen it, but I was still just like, yes, I'm in the VCR watching Air Force One as soon as I opened it. And we said birthday cake. Hey guys, we're watching Air Force One. Stick it in there. Right. And I'm hyped, man. It was awesome.
Yeah. So it's like, I've got that kid mentality where I'm like, I'll go back and, watch it as a kid or whatever and be thinking, yeah, this is so cool or whatever. And I can do that for any movie. It's like even random crap. Like I love the Ewok movies. It's like,
I've got those. I got them on DVD. Yeah. Sometimes it makes what you just did makes me sometimes regret that knee-jerk reaction of you haven't seen this movie when I should be. Oh, just wait till you watch this movie instead, because you're going to experience it now. What I experienced it 25 years ago for the 25th year of this movie, because I'm old as shit, but to get that, I'm remembering my experience. You got it, and apparently it hit you the right way it hit me. All the right notes were hit. These two were probably scrolling on their phones or something. Who knows what they were doing.
Around when I watched it. Okay, the first time.
That's true. That is true.
No phone was around. Owen's over there writing letters. Dear editor of Air Force One,
that was it.
This movie is shite.
I did a review via Smoke Signal. That was how I did my review for it.
So just for recapping, if people haven't missed it, when we do a 7 out of 10 means it's exceptional. It's way above an average movie of this similar style.
Right.
So that is one of the things that pat on my back that I like about my method is that 5 out of 10 means it's average. So 7 out of 10 for you guys is like what Steve, Owen, what you're saying. It's like, this is a really damn good movie. It's definitely worth watching, perhaps watching it a couple of times.
It's not perfect, but it's still a damn good time.
It's a damn good movie.
I agree.
I'm just in a little bit like, you know what? And if you look at what I scored high, which was the enjoyment factor. The enjoyment factor is sometimes the main factor that brings it over. And I'm actually a character person. So if I like the characters in a crappy movie, it gets high, right? Like it's like, this is why 59 minutes, 30 seconds, the Batman, this is why the Batman still got a 5, because I like Batman. I like Gordon. I like them teaming up, doing stuff. Yeah, the storyline's piss, but it's like I like Batman. It's like Christopher Reeve. I love Superman. I love all 4 Superman movies because Christopher Reeve is the best. Like I'm going to give Superman 3 2 out of 2 for characters. I don't care. If Christopher Reeve is Superman, it's a 2 out of 2. If everyone else is utter garbage, it doesn't matter. And in my enjoyment is 2 out of 2 because Christopher Reeve represents heroism, the ultimate superhero of all film, the ultimate.
Oh, he got way excited.
He displeased me, so I had him killed.
Oh, it's like
I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened there.
You got real excited.
Yeah, maybe I knocked my wire. I may have knocked.
That must
my
be
wire.
Yeah. Stop pulling your wire live on air.
Yeah, geez. Hold on for 10 minutes.
Didn't find it memorable. How do you not find this movie memorable?
No, I do get that. There's something about it. It's not a film I want to watch over and over. Like, it had been years since I last watched it. There's something about it. It's not that rewatchable for me. This is the most I'd probably enjoyed it ever. This viewing.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I'm looking at it as this is probably like multiple watches every year.
Right.
I watch this movie, but I have that connection to it, though. You know, it just hit me right, and we like what we like, guys. I mean, you know, we give each other shit on here because it's funny, but you know, like Jamin said, you guys still gave it 7s. That's really
7 is
high. Yeah,
like that's really high. Like even
8s are higher. But I'm just saying,
and I can be brought. The point of this was that when we discuss it, and if we're actually being really honest, we're never more than 1 apart. Even when I'm the lowest, it's never been like I'm at a 5 and you guys are at 9s. It's like that has not really happened, right?
No.
It may happen with a personal childhood favorite movie of mine.
Yeah.
Like if I'm talking about, I don't know, I love Flash Gordon. To me, that's 10 out of 10.
That's next week's show.
Oh yeah.
Okay, which you just ruined. Thanks, Jim.
Well,
listen,
it may as well be ruined. There's, I will not hear any negative comments towards that movie. But that's an average person's really not going to say that. I think 7 out of 10. And I think Grammatron, so he was Grammatron said 6. I think a generic person would be between 6 and 7, right? Like Man on the Street, Air Force One, the movie. What do you think? Oh, it's like a 7. You know, like
your average movie watcher, basically.
Average
like,
movie
I
watcher.
like action. I like this.
Average Joe 6-pack. Hell of expression.
Maybe some Hallmark Channel movies sprinkled in every once in a while. I don't know. You know, I'm not one to judge.
Yeah,
this is an interesting point he makes here. As the reviews aren't really close, it's the personal connection or actors that really separate it. And I think with most movies, it's what you associate with it, which is why people enjoy it.
I agree
with that.
Excellent point.
I mean, it is Gary Force One. That's all it needed was Gary Oldman in this. Put a different villain in this.
I mean,
I probably wouldn't have rated it as high. I mean, honestly, leaving everyone else as is. That villain still has to pull off his job as to make us, want to know what happens next. You know, so Gary Oldman was it. You know, you can't have Hans Gruber in every freaking movie, but you can have Gary Oldman as every character in a movie.
And he is in it too. I don't like getting caught up in these. What if this wasn't in it? Well, if it wasn't in it, then it's not the movie. So what?
Right.
It's like what if Tom Selleck? What if Tom Selleck was Indy?
Mm-hmm.
Right,
that's could have happened.
That was close, right? Like, so I mean, that's a whole different thing. I can't even imagine what that is. People tell, what if Bruce Campbell wasn't an Evil Dead? Well, then it's a shit movie. I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's like Bruce Campbell's the best. It's like it's like a low budget.
It's inconceivable.
Yeah,
what it would be like.
100%. Yeah.
No. Yeah, this is a good comment here. When it came out, I thought it was okay. Then The Summer White House Down came out. I rewatched it and said, wow, it's a lot better than I remember. Yeah. That was the thing for me, is that when I watched it the other day and I was like, wow, this is actually better than I remembered it. And I was always too harsh on it before. But even now, I was still maybe arguably a bit too hard on it in some ways, just because of my hatred of CGI. But that will never change no matter what anybody says or does to me. But yeah, still a fun movie after 25 years.
I found that my opinion didn't change. I saw it and I thought it was a 7 out of 10 when I first saw it, and second time I saw it, it's still a 7 out of 10, which says something, because after 25 years, there's a lot of movies I've watched when I was younger that I watch now. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? This movie is ass. And the fact that it can, it can stay at that level is pretty impressive, because. You always say the test of time is really where you tell how good a movie is.
Right. And the performance, characters for me.
It's just not Christmas without the Hallmark Channel.
Oh, dear. They were under fire for a while too. We're not getting into it. No, but characters are important. That's like my number one thing, because it's very difficult to get 2 out of 2 for story. Like, what story are you telling me that is so amazing? You know, that's just like, there's very few that I give 2 out of 2 on a story. And then everything else, it's like pacing. It again is linked to story a bit. The rest of it, like, is easy, right? Like, artistry is easy. This looks good. It sounds good. They tried hard. It's cool. There you go. Characters are the big thing. If I don't care about the characters, the story can be amazing, but you just don't care what happens to these people. So what do I care about it? You know, like.
Do you know what's actually a really good story, and this will come as no surprise to anybody, but Lord of the Rings, because the hero fails at the end. Yeah. And it's only by happenstance that it ends up like Gollum snatches it and falls in. But Frodo fails and he's broken by the end and he goes off to die basically at the end. I mean, it's really a downbeat actual ending. Like, yes, they save the Middle Earth, but at what cost?
Sam is like the hero. Like,
Sam's the real hero.
Yeah, he becomes the hero. And he was always there to be that. Like, that was the destiny of that character, I think, too, right?
Yeah. So Lord of the Rings is a tough one though, because the story is really awesome, but the pacing is all over the place. Like, those freaking hobbits are in a tree for 40 minutes in 2 towers, and Return of the King ends 14 times.
Yeah. But I mean, that's where, like, story can be fantastic, and it could even be that it was written as far as pacing done, but a bad edit can mess a movie up completely. Yeah. You know, that the pacing's really how well did we put all the pieces together?
Yes. Right.
And did 100%. They do it? You know, they could have had all the best intentions and then went, let's cut it. How many action movies have we seen that fall under that? We're like, what the fuck is going on here? Why is this happening? And it's like, it's all.
Yeah, and you could do a 1 hour, 7 minutes, 5 seconds. You can do a Zack Snyder garbage Justice League job and make this 4 hours of nonsense.
Okay, I'm gonna show my age real quick. He said acting goats, and I was about to get mad, but then I realized that stands for greatest of all
time. I know. I had to look that up a while ago. Like, he's the goat, and I was like, what?
Yeah. I was like, what did you say? And then
I was like, you like farm animals? What? This is PG-13 show. No, it's not. It's rated R.
No, it's not. We're R.
Bring on the GIMP,
baby. The GIMP sleeping.
Well, wake him up.
Maybe get the wake him up. Miracle here. We'll do that maybe nearer Christmas.
Karate Christmas movie.
Oh, that's my co-host Nate. I know exactly what he's talking about.
Is that a real movie? Because I don't.
It is.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. It might be a real movie.
It is.
Yeah.
No, it is. Oh, it is. I know. Air Force One is also very 90s, and Hollywood was trying to mainstream action, so it has a certain vibe about it. It's very
yes,
yeah,
100%.
Whenever they
everyman action movie, when you got rid of the
real actors rather than action stars.
This was, that's how we got Nick Cage and Harrison Ford.
Right.
And, we had John McClane earlier, and he kind of was our first everyman.
Really. Yes.
But this was also when Arnold and Stallone were a little on a decline, but yet they still wanted action movies to bring money in on the summers. So, it's like Harrison Ford had draw power. I mean, still a lot of people saw this movie. This wasn't a flop or anything either. This was a pretty damn big movie at the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Trends kept changing around for action movies. And I'm okay with that trend. I'm not so much okay with the trend of the visual style of action movies with the shaky cams and all that. Like, I don't mind if
that can go away. I don't
that needs to go. God. It's lazy filmmaking. Like you can make me look like, a Van Damme. It's like, well, no, that's not, I want to see, because you can't aspire to editing. When you're someone watching these movies, you can't connect to fast editing. I connected to the characters and the people who were those characters. I connected to Van Damme and Schwarzenegger and Stallone and all these guys and Dolph. And if it's just quick edits, I'm like, well, that's not Van Damme doing anything. He's just there throwing a couple of kicks and they edit it together. It's like when people sing, when these actors who aren't singers, they sing. Well, they just need to sing it one line once good and they can edit it. This isn't Judy Garland where it's like action and she has to sing the whole goddamn song perfectly.
Oh, yeah,
or else they say, sorry, cut, redo it. You know what I mean? It's like anyone can sing well with editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, and I hate to point him out, but Liam Neeson, when he's getting older and they keep putting him in these action thrillers, and it's like the man can't fight.
Yeah,
he's
and I can't remember what the difference is between the movies recently as well. I'm like, I was looking yesterday at Memory, and I was like, have I seen that? Which I thought was hilarious because it's always in the memory. But I don't remember if I've seen it. And I was like, or is that Blacklight I've seen? And I was like, I don't know. Or is it Unknown? And I was like, all these movies kind of just morph into the one thing, and that's the thing. Sorry.
That's all these new movies. I mean, it's just, here's a title and some guy holding a gun on the cover. Okay. I'm not even caught up on any of that stuff. I maybe get like one, even when Netflix was trying to, I think the last one I watched was Kate, which I thought that was decent. I enjoyed it. Yeah. It wasn't anything to write home about, but I enjoyed it.
I think I gave it 3 stars.
I think you're the reason I watched it, because I was like, well, I'll check it out. But most of the time, I haven't even watched like Red Notice or anything like that. I was just kind of
there. It was all right, but
I saw.
Well, I was still pissed off about the hitman's bodyguard's wife. I'm like, why did we need this?
Yeah,
why did we need this garbage? You left it alone. Gary Oldman again in the first one.
Yeah,
kind of playing this character, except now he's the general. So Gary Oldman everywhere. But no, I would watch that, and I was just like, I don't like this anymore. I don't like where the direction's going. Give me back my action movies, damn it.
Yeah, damn right. Yeah, I mean, what was the last thing I saw in the
link
movies?
in the description of this video?
I think the last thing I saw in the cinema was Jurassic World Dominion. I have no desire to see Thor. I watched your review for it, and I was like,
I haven't watched it. I'll wait for streaming.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it on Disney Plus. I can't stand Natalie Portman. I can't stand Taika Waititi. I hated Thor Ragnarok, so I'm like, why am I going to see this?
Okay. If you hated that, then you're done.
Yeah.
With this one.
Yeah, I like Ragnarok, but even I'm.
I don't find the humor funny. There's just too much of it, and it just takes away a lot of the threat or the stakes. Whenever there's just too much humor. So I will watch it on streaming, but I'm not going to pay money to see it in the cinema.
He actually takes away the stakes because Gore the God Butcher is supposed to be killing the gods. You have to ask yourself, why do I care about that? Why does he need to be stopped? And they never make that clear because all the gods are stupid, silly, or mean. Where's the god that's nice? Like there should have been a part there should have been a village that's dying of starvation. They pray to their god, please, we need food. And then their god shows up. He's like, I will give you food. And before he gives them food, God Butcher stabs them. He goes, there, I killed your stupid god for you, bye. And they're like, no, we're going to all die now. That didn't happen because they don't want to give any sort of power to gods. It's like, oh, we shouldn't be worshiping gods. That's stupid. But in order for us to care about the God Butcher, we need gods that are good people getting killed. And all the ones that die in the movie are assholes or just stupid. And you're like, well, now I'm with the God Butcher. It's like Friday 13th. Kill all these idiots.
Give me the knife. I'll help.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. Anyways.
It's a very cynical, irreverent movie. It doesn't respect the characters or the source material at all. And it just doesn't, it's not a good film. It's just flat out not a good film at all.
A movie has to be amazing looking for me to want to go see it now. I'm just like, it's so expensive to go to movies now that dude. I'm like, you know what, it's going to be out on streaming in a few weeks, so I'll just wait and watch it then a lot of the time.
We're a family of 5, and I don't get out for less than $100 now.
That's $100 American.
And that's trying
like 300
to go like
Canadian.
That's like trying to go on Sunday when it's not like the big days or anything like that. But you're not getting out without popcorn. You're not getting out without, I need a drink. And I'll go by myself. Me and my buddies will sneak out. We're going to go watch the train one. No, Bullet Train. We're going to go watch that. I'm really excited. If there's a movie I'm excited for this year, it's that.
I was kind of looking forward to it. Jonathan's going to see it, and he's going to do a review and decide for it. But I saw the second full trailer for it, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure I like.
It's going to be goofy. It's going to be somewhat silly, but I think they're going to. That's the same studio that did Nobody and a lot of those.
And it's the guys who did John Wick and everything. So I'm like,
so I'm in, and I think the action's going to be good. But that's after seeing Top Gun Maverick, it's like you guys got a lot to start getting me to come back into theaters.
I mean, Maverick's the best film I've seen this year, easily. On
period. Yeah, I mean,
my brother back home has seen it. I think he's seen it like 6 or 7 times. He's obsessed.
He is obsessed. He keeps putting his face on Maverick thing.
Well, no, he's made a fan film. That's why he's made a.
Is that
yeah,
what that is?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I got
fan
that.
film.
Yeah, it's a
Popcorn.
little parody film. It's called Popcorn,
Oh.
so you can check it out.
I
And
will check that out.
it's like a no budget thing. It was very entertaining.
There was
And,
an article, I think it's been out however many weeks, and there's a guy that has seen it every single week that since it's been out. And it's, it's
I can believe that.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I used to go to the movies. I would see some movies like 5 or 6 times if I really loved them. But now, I think because of COVID and you know that things are going to be out within a few weeks, I'm like, I've seen it once on the big screen. That's sufficient.
Well, it was because I don't know when I'm going to get to watch this again, and I have to wait a year before I can watch it at home. Now it's like, oh, this actually released the exact same day. I'm just going to stream it.
Now. You know, I don't need to wear pants to watch it at home. So I'm just going to go there.
I don't wear pants at the theater either.
Neither do I. The police
You don't want me to stand up right now.
Sure we do. So
we are rated R, guys.
Sudden death of this movie. Sudden death is the answer to most questions, to be honest, because it's one of my favorite Van Damme movies.
It's Van Damme, so.
I gotta say, sudden death.
Yeah, Powers Booth is one of my favorite underrated villains in that movie. He's such a turd in that movie.
Thanks for asking the hard questions, Nate.
The mayor will not be running for re-election.
He fights a penguin. It's kind of hard to top that.
You're not going to beat that. I remember seeing that in the cinema. Now I saw that 3 or 4 times. Now my dad would always take me to watch the Van Damme and Seagal movies in like the 90s, and those were that's prime childhood right there.
Oh, that was
your dad taking you to watch all those things. And I'm going to get abused for this. We went to see On Deadly Ground, I think 2 or 3 times. I saw it with my dad, and I saw it with my brother. So I loved them. Hard Target, I've seen I think 6 times on the big screen.
Yeah. My dad took me to Con Air at the drive-in.
I've seen that 5 times.
Because Dad was like, I want to see it on the biggest screen possible. Because we saw the trailers. There's an airplane, and they show it, I think, in the trailer crashing in the strip. And my dad's was, I want to watch it on the biggest screen. We're not going to the local one, small back then. He's like, drive-in's playing it. We're gonna go. And it's the best fucking time I've had at a movie. Just watching that up there, coming through the car radios and stuff. It was amazing.
I was never so pumped for a movie until I saw that teaser trailer for Con Air, like the music thing. And then when they're like Cameron Poe, Parole, and then it plays that fucking electric guitar theme tune. I was like, that's the greatest music I've ever heard in my entire life. And
it still gets me pumped.
Today. In the ringtone of my phone. Like one of the best scenes of the 90s is, hey, where are you going? I'm going to show you God does exist.
I'm going to show you God.
And it would up everybody in the plane. And I'm like, I just had an accident in my shorts.
Might not have been an accident.
It might not be an accident. Yeah. What was that we were saying about not wearing pants? So yeah. So anyway, which comments here? So the closest movie you can compare Air Force One to is yes, both hijacked airplane movie. They took themselves serious with some politicians involved. Yeah.
I like Executive Decision though. I like the throwing you off at the beginning when Seagal gets out. Like, holy shit, they just did that to Seagal. But I again, that's the characters. I liked all the actors in that.
Me too.
That elevated that movie, and it works for me. But I like Air Force One a little bit better than Executive Decision, though.
Executive Decision, I remember I was like dying in the theater. I'm like, kill these guys. And Kurt Russell, you can watch Kurt Russell do anything, man. Kurt Russell was doing his laundry for 2 hours. That would be a 10 watch it.
See, that had like the thing we should have had with the Secret Service guy in Air Force One. There should have been like who is the guy we're looking for at the end of Executive Decision. Not it ends up like they knock over the guy that has the diamonds. He keeps we're like the red herring. We're like, it's him. Nope, all diamonds fall out, and it's this other guy that they've barely showed in the back is the actual one with the bomb, to control it. And then everything happening with the paralysis, diffusing the bomb, Oliver Platt.
Yes.
I'm loving all of that. Damn it. Okay, I like it as much as I like Air Force One.
We'll do that. Well,
put it on the list.
I haven't watched that in years. I haven't seen it for a while.
Put it on the list
since it came out. I don't remember anything you're saying.
Yeah, I know.
I own it. I watched it not long ago. Sorry, guys. I remember
Joe Morton was in it, and Joe Morton always plays characters who are out of breath in every movie. I always remember, like in Terminator 2, and then this, he's always like,
same exact thing. Halle Berry's the stewardess in this.
Ladies Animal.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. We should do it after like Flash Gordon or something.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Well, actually, after Flash Gordon, I want to do the Running Man because I just want to excuse to watch
Oh.
Running Man again because I haven't watched it for a while. And I know, Stephen, you've done a good post on the site a while back, which was like comparing the story to the movie.
I wrote an article about it. It was our second episode was a Running Man too. I'm a fan. Let's do Running Man.
Ant-Man? What?
Running Man.
You said running Ant-Man? I thought you said
Running Ant-Man. No, I did an article on Running Man last year.
Running Ant-Man? Is that new?
Maybe. You don't know.
Yeah. Gareth Evans' Havoc. That sounds good. That's a Netflix film, I think.
See, I haven't watched that one yet. No.
And Tom Hardy. No, it's not out yet. Tom Hardy's in it. There's not even a trailer for it yet. I'm not sure when it's going to be out. So, have you seen Air Force? No, but we should do.
Boogaloo?
Yeah, but they should do it. Have his kids out for revenge against Marshall's family or whatever, and it's over within like 2 minutes. So, because like he's an old man, wouldn't be able to do anything. Like, why are they doing Indiana Jones 5? Like, they should have just left that.
Why did they do
1 hour and
Skull?
20 minutes, 50 seconds? Indiana Jones.
No, Indiana Jones is okay because this is Harrison Ford. I think it's Harrison Ford. You always talk about his other franchises, so it's allowed.
All right,
but that makes Star Wars okay, though.
That makes Star Wars.
It does make Star Wars okay.
Damn it, man! Our rules make no sense here.
Nothing makes sense. This is our own universe. This is space. We're not on Earth. It's space.
That's it.
So,
that's right.
No, they shouldn't have done Crystal Skull. Should have ended it Last
No.
Crusade. They rode off into the sunset
the
and done.
Last Crusade.
Yeah.
Last.
Yeah.
That should have been it. It's like so many movies, franchises should have ended as trilogies, if even that. They just don't need to. And I don't know what they're going to do with Indy 5. You know they're going to kill him off, and
That's
I don't want to see that.
guaranteed.
And if they do that, I'm burning the theater down, and J-Man's going to hand me the matches.
Well, it's Harrison Ford that's actually the one saying, please kill this character so I can stop doing it.
He always says that. He did that with Han Solo as well.
I think it was only Han Solo because he didn't think there was anything really they could do with him, and maybe they were.
But
right.
see, he doesn't do sequels though, other than the Indiana Jones and Star Wars. I mean,
and Blade Runner. He lived in Blade Runner.
Well, it's more cameo-ish. He's in it, but he didn't have to do as much like the first one, and they probably paid him a really nice check at that time. You know,
it's funny. I read the book of Blade Runner, or Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep recently. I remember saying to J-Man, I actually prefer the movie Blade Runner to the book.
Yeah,
I think the characters are better. I think Roy Batty is a far more interesting character. Like the whole Tears and Rain speech isn't in the book. I remember Rutger Hauer came up with that, and it was just so much better. So that's a rare occasion where the film is better than the original source material.
I like the book better, but Philip K. Dick is like one of my favorites of all time. I've read as many as I could find of his, and they're all like Three Stigmata of Palmer Eldridge is amazing.
The Blade Runner book is just about them and animals and things, and do you want an owl? Do you want a goat? Whatever. I was like, who cares? So I don't know.
It's just the way that his vision of the future is like. He does weird stories. As if you read the Total Recall one, right? Yeah. And it's like the stories are all very weird, and it just wasn't things that you had seen like that before. Mm-hmm. Like there's Bradbury and Clark, obviously they're geniuses. Yeah. And all. I like sci-fi books. I can take sci-fi slow books. Yeah. Those are the only slow books I can take. Otherwise, I read those pulp novels. But like. I don't know. Philip K. Dick's awesome. But I love Blade Runner. When I first saw Blade Runner, the movie, I thought it was garbage.
I hated it. Yeah.
I hated it.
It's a grown-ups movie. Like when you watch it as a youngster, you're like, I don't get this on board. But to be honest, it was actually Blade Runner 2049 that made me go back to it because I love Blade Runner 2049. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back and watch the original. And now I love them both. And it's one of my favorite movie universes now. Like I love the whole visual style and everything to it, the music and all that.
J-Man, did you read the book first or watch the movie first?
Blade Runner?
Yeah.
I watched the movie first and thought it was garbage. You know what? This is weird. I'm very weird. When everyone says something's awesome and I don't like it, I think I'm wrong.
Oh, same here. I'm the same. Yeah.
Like I'm not like these like millennials. I was like, oh no, this is stupid. It's like I'm like everyone says Blade Runner is so amazing. I'm like I missed something. I'm like let me read this book. Right. I was like, oh, this book is fucking awesome. I'm like okay, hold on. And then I'm like, let me watch this movie. Like, man, this movie's actually pretty good. I think it's a good adaptation because it's not the book, because you can't adapt the book. Yeah. So take the elements that you think are cool, expand on those. So for me, I'm not really saying one's better than the other. They're more like companion pieces. it's like if you want more of the depth of what's going on in the world, the book will help you. But if you want more of the cooler parts of the story, you can watch the movie.
Kind of like the whole thing with Dune and stuff going on there.
Yeah,
you know,
Dune is my favorite novel.
From book to television series to everything we've gotten up to now.
Yeah,
there's so many different takes on it. Like, don't want to ignore what the guy had over there about the 2022. I can't wait to see John Woo.
Yeah, Silent Night. It's a silent movie. It's an action movie, G-Man.
I can't wait.
Which sounds awesome.
I love John Woo. Red Cliff was the last great one that he did, I think. And after that, I'm like,
I have Red Cliff, but I haven't watched it yet. I've never seen it. So
do you have the full version? Like the
I don't know. It's in a pack with some other movies, so I'll watch it.
It's like 4 hours long. So if it's not 4 hours, then it's not the full thing. They cut out like an hour.
Yeah. Silent Night stars Joel Kinnaman. Now, hear me out.
I love that dude.
I think Joel Kinnaman should play Flash Gordon in a new movie. If they do Defenders of the Earth movie, you have Joel Kinnaman.
I think he can
play. Yeah, Joel Kinnaman can play Flash Gordon. Donnie Yen plays Ming the Merciless. Scott Adkins plays the Phantom. Who else? I can't remember what I did. Who are the other characters? Mandrake. Who did I?
There's Lothar, Mandrake. I have an entire shelf of I have 2 shelves of Defenders of the Earth. Part 1 shelf is there, part 2 shelf is down there. And I got the next set of figures, and I have the original figures in the packaging, except for Mandrake and Lothar. For some reason, I can't find them, but like I've got my childhood Mandrake. I love Defenders of the Earth.
Yeah, so that was my shit. Yeah, so like that's a movie I would watch if someone would properly write it and develop it like us.
They're gonna need. I was just gonna say they need to confirm with. There's a thing that I do on this other guy's channel where we own properties. Like I own Superman, so before they make a Superman movie, they have to clear. I don't have to run
it by you.
They have to run it by. Like, here's what we're gonna do. I'm like, yeah, you're not doing that. Oh, okay. It's like I tell you what is okay to. So Defenders of the Earth, you and I only can claim that one. It's like I'll tell you what is acceptable in this movie.
Nice. Well, we can all dream, can't we? But yeah, we just dropped a John Woo. We did Broken Arrow this week. So I was like, I love John Woo.
I love that movie. Amazing score. Like
love it.
Music in the 90s action movies were so good. You got like Con Air, The Rock, Crimson Tide, all these movies, Broken Arrow. They are amazing scores.
It was a character of the movies. You needed a soundtrack.
And I miss that so much in modern movies. I rant about it all the time, but I'm like, for God's sake. I mean, yes, there's the odd time you get movies with decent theme tune. Like, in fairness, in his defense, The Batman is one of the best scores of recent times, actually. That was really good.
He's right about Kubrick right there.
Yeah, Kubrick did that with The Shining, where he took the parts of the book that would work in a film. King didn't like it, and his TV miniseries copied the entire book, and it was lousy. Yeah, because I love the film.
Yeah,
I also like it a lot.
You've built a world in your mind as you read. When you watch a movie, the world is supposed to be built for you, and that's where things work, better on film than they do in writing sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, with The Shining, I did like the TV series too because I love the book, but the movie is another level. Like even watching the recreation in Ready Player One or going back in Dr. Sleep, like I get chills thinking about going back to the Overlook, like Kubrick's Overlook, as opposed to what happened in the miniseries.
I appreciate that movie. It never struck me like a lot of people do, where it's like, oh, this is fantastic. This is upper level. To me, I don't know. It's my action movie background where it's just like. What's happening? Nope, we're still talking type. Was that a ghost? Holy shit, there's a naked old lady that's...
What is that guy in a teddy bear costume doing?
What's going on? And my son wanted to watch it last year, and my wife's like, sure, let him do it. And I'm like, what's in that movie again? I only seen it like one time, so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that part right there.
He might just be bored, though. He might be bored by that. That's another one of these adult movies where
folks movie. It's funny. People always told me that Kubrick's movies were boring, but I have loved every one I've seen. I haven't seen all of them. I haven't seen Eyes Wide Shut.
It's awesome.
Which I want to see. Stephen, I just ordered the 4K of 2001. So I did have it on DVD. But
that's another one as a kid where you're like, I don't know what's going on, but you watch it later and you're like, holy shit, this movie.
I watched it for the first time on a plane. I was in space when I watched it. It doesn't get better. That's how you watch a sci-fi film. And I was also, I was watching it on the plane. I was under headphones, and it was great. I loved it, and it was the first time I watched it. And then I also did a double bill of Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. So I'm in the sky watching flying cars and everything.
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, someone needs to create a flying cinema that's like an airplane that just has a cinema screen in it, and you play like all these cool sci-fi movies and shit like that
in the sky.
on the plane. And that's just
That would be awesome.
Well,
That'd be awesome.
2001 is my second favorite movie of all time, and I consider it the best film ever made. And I've seen it a million times. I read the book a few times, and I literally buy every version of that, no matter what it is. It's like, oh, it's a new cover. Yeah, I'll buy it. It's a soundtrack, like all that stuff. I made a monolith. I made a 2-scale monolith because it's 1, 2, 3 squared. So it's 1 by 4 by 9. That's the dimensions. And I actually made a full-size monolith that we had in our office. Nobody knew what it was. There's me and one guy at the office that knew what it was. So we made the monolith, and people would be like, what is
it? It was J-Man leaving those things all over the United States last year.
They kept
finding them in the desert. Oh yeah, there was like these rectangles that just appeared, and they would just disappear when the people started knowing about.
I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was.
It was J-Man.
Yeah. If I had thought of that, I would definitely have done it. If I had the resources to do that, that'd be awesome. But yeah, I love 2001.
Yeah, I don't know how you get across the border with that. That'd be funny. Made me believe.
I have my ways.
Made me believe in love again. Damn it! I'm sorry, Grammerton. Let love overcomes all, man. Even Hallmark movies.
I'll get you a teddy bear mask next time I see you. Okay. So next week, then will we do Flash Gordon then next week then?
I mean, I spoiled it's in my top 10 favorite films of all time. I mean, it's up to you guys. If you want to do it, I can talk how awesome it is. I have every version there ever was. Posters, had a mouse pad.
Well,
you got
maybe
that.
we don't need to do space on it. We just talk about it and just shoot the shit about it, and then
we can do that.
Just do that. Yeah. And then we'll do the Running Man.
Running Man, we can do space. I've seen that a bunch of times, but I like rewatching that movie.
The Running Man's underrated, I think. Doesn't get nearly enough love, so we'll definitely have a look at that. Okay, well, we'll do that. So before we go, what do you guys got coming up? Like, Jay, what do you got coming up next few days?
Tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Eastern is our regular Thursday night comic book talk. We're covering the 90s, and we're covering every comic that came out in November of 1990. Sometimes we do topics as well. We will be doing Pulp Heroes eventually as well, but that's what's happening. Saturday is a catch-up, so we're going to talk about Ms. Marvel. I still have to watch it, so I'll try to watch it, even though I forced everyone to watch it, and then I didn't watch it myself. So I'm going to definitely watch it. We'll talk about all this other crap, all the trailers that come out, Monsters and Halloween. So that'll be, well, it's Rob Zombie, so I'm just going to buy it anyways because I buy everything else he's done, even though I hate everything he's done. Except for Lords of Salem, which everyone hates, but I kind of like. Anyway, so that's what we do Saturday nights. And then Tuesday night, Steve and I do wrestling talk at 7:30 Eastern. So there you go.
I've watched that a few times, and I'm like, I have no idea who you're talking about.
Well, it's all very attractive female wrestlers, so
yeah, I mean that's all right. Yeah, that's not so bad.
I should put more pictures.
Why do these guys watch this? I have no idea.
I can't imagine why. Yeah, oh, there we are. Now you piqued my interest. And so, Charlie, what's your next show? So you've just done Broken Arrow. So what's next?
Yeah, we just did Broken Arrow. Next week is horror, so we're doing Dog Soldiers. But tonight I'm watching Blind Fury. We're recording that tomorrow. Yes. So speaking of Rutger Hauer, one big thing is we have 2 interviews coming out this month. Tomorrow is a Indiegogo campaign for a movie called Watchdog, directed by Elsie Holt, who was in You're Next.
Oh, I love You're Next.
Oh yeah,
I've seen it like 100 times.
He's the killer in the sheep mask. He was also in VHS 2.
I love VHS 2. That's one of my favorites.
So
specifically part 2.
We just sat down with him and the special effects guy is a friend of ours, Derek, and their Indiegogo. It's already funded, but it's still got time on its campaign. So that comes out tomorrow. And the end of the month, we interviewed Jim Ojala, who started out his career with Citizen Toxie, The Toxic Avenger.
Oh my God, Citizen Toxie is like one of my favorite movies. I literally quote it all the time.
He's done Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
That's
God, he loves all this.
I love that movie too.
A huge career, and he's been sharing out. He does the masks for Slipknot, the other members of the bands. So that interview comes out at the end of the month. So that's what we got going on. Not just action and horror. We sprinkle in interviews too.
Oh yeah.
Slipknot, there's like 4,000 masks for Slipknot because there's like 14 members.
Well, it's like
I can't keep track of these people. Like, who are these?
Tom Savini does Corey's, but all the other members are responsible for theirs. And so Jim's studio does it, and they just did an art gallery with the drummer, and they have all this guy's artwork that he put out there. And he had to leave our interview because that's where he was going next. And that's how we found out. We're like, wait, you do the mask for Slipknot? He's like, yeah, we do that. And then he's sharing all these pictures on Instagram. It's like, holy shit, we were just talking to that guy.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Actually, you give me an idea there, because we've never actually reviewed them on the site. What if we did a versus for the 3 Hellboy films?
Ooh, I like that. That'd be interesting, because I like the new one.
So did I. I like all 3, but it'll be interesting just to discuss. We don't do space. We just talk about what we think of them, and then we'll rank them at the end or whatever.
I like that idea. That's cool.
Because it's something different. I know we generally don't do superhero. I don't really consider that a superhero movie, though. It's
more of a graphic novel.
Yeah, and it's got one-liners. It's got violence and stuff in it. So
it's action.
It could be an action movie, but it's a comic book movie.
Yeah,
it's a comic book. It's an action. It's more actiony, yeah.
We can do what we want.
Yeah, we'll do what we want. And then
Flash Gordon is a comic book too.
Yeah, that's true. And I want to do the Christopher Reeve Superman movies as well. We'll talk about them at some point too in the future. So I know you could do it right now, J-Man. Just go listen to it right now for the entire night. Yeah. But I'm hot as balls, so I want to get out of this room and into the fresh air because it's really warm. So, Stephen, what are you working on right now? Are you still short stories?
Yeah, so I'm going to be publishing Madhouse, I'm sure, next month. I just have to get the cover done, and then I'm good to go. Currently, right now, my dad wrote a book years ago, and my mother, he's turning 80 this year. So my mother's like, I want you to get his book published. Here's the thing. He's not really a writer, so I got to rewrite his book for him. So that's what I'm doing right now to get it published in time for his 80th birthday. But I will be publishing Madhouse.
Cool. That's awesome. That's a nice special
awesome
present. Yeah.
I'll
be going to see my dad for his 81st birthday because I couldn't get to his 80th last year because stupid COVID was still going on. It still is, but it's not quite as bad. So I'm going to be there in September. It was initially supposed to be a surprise, but it's not anymore. Surprise! So yeah, I'll be there in September anyway. So nobody cares. So anyway, so next week, well,
damn it, man, we care.
Nobody else cares apart from us. We're family.
Oh, okay.
So, all right. So thanks for watching, everybody. And next week we will do Flash Gordon. And I think remember to like and subscribe to everybody's various channels. All the links will be posted below. And we will see you next week for Flash Gordon. So if you're watching, remember, you are the Action Elite.